Hi, everyone. Today we're going to go over some two-step proportion problems. This happens whenever you're reading a word problem and you realize that there are 3 units involved and that they're giving you 5 numbers and asking for you to solve for 1 unknown number. In that case, you will need to use 2 proportions, or that's at least one way of solving for it. If you haven't watched my videos yet about doing 1 proportions at a time when you're given 2 units and 3 numbers, I'd love for you to stop and watch that first, just to make sure you're good at doing 1-step proportions. In this one, though, we're going to go through 2. So here's a crazy example that I came up with, and then we're going to do another example on this. Currently, as of December 11th, 2021, this is on page M10 of my packet, but depending on when you see this video, it may have changed. Here's our example. My dog likes to eat 3 nights of salmon flavored dog food for every 4 nights of tuna flavored food. She also likes to eat 2 nights of beef flavored food for every 5 nights of tuna flavored food. So basically, we're going to pretend that I'm trying to decide how many cans to buy when I go to the grocery store. The question is, how many nights of salmon flavored food will she want if she eats 8 nights of beef flavored food? Now, this is a crazy question. So our strategy is going to realize, first of all, that the problem has 3 units and 5 numbers, and recognize that we're going to do 2 proportions to solve for the missing number. First, we'll organize the information, get rid of all those extra words, and then we'll set up and solve 2 proportions. And part of what we're going to be doing with this is looking for a friend. And that's going to help us with doing the 2 proportions. Now, if you'll hold on for just one moment, I'll be right back with you and we'll do the next step. Okay, so let's organize the information. We are given a ratio of 3 salmon nights for every 4 tuna nights. So I could simply write that as 3 salmon equals 4 tuna. That's the connection. Then we are also given a ratio of 2 beef nights for every 5 tuna nights. So again, let's simplify it and just say 2 beef equals 5 tuna. Our plan, they've asked us for 8 nights of beef. How many salmon that would be? Well, we don't have a relationship in this problem between beef and salmon, not directly. So they don't know each other yet, but they both know tuna. That's the friend that they have in common. So I can recognize that if I can get the message of the 8 beef and turn that into tuna, then that number of tuna can be converted into salmon, because beef and tuna go together, tuna and salmon go together. So here's our plan. We're going to convert the 8 beef nights to tuna nights. Then we'll take that number of tuna nights and convert it into salmon nights. It's going to take 2 proportions, but it's going to get us to the correct answer in the end. Our first one, way I do this is I say, okay, the 8 beef is equal to X number of tuna. We don't know yet. Directly underneath it, I'm going to put the same unit. This time it's 2 beef. And I'm getting that from the information in the passage. The 2 beef is equal to 5 tuna. And what I've created then are 2 lovely looking proportions, or 2 lovely fractions equal to each other. And when I'm solving for X, I cross multiply. The 2 times the X will be equal to 8 times the 5. That means that 2X is equal to 40. And then if I divide both sides by 2, the X will equal 20. And then I come back up here and I say, oh, it's tuna. So X will be 20 tuna nights. We're halfway done. Let's keep going. With the 20 tuna, we don't know how many salmon that's going to be. So we'll say X. We were told in the problem that 4 tuna is equal to 3 salmon. Again, we cross multiply. 4X equals 20 times 3. Then 4x is equal to 60. And if you take 4 divided by 4, you get 1. And 60 divided by 4 is 15. So we converted our 8 beef nights into 20 tuna nights, and then 20 tuna into 15 salmon. You may have a different approach for doing this. Whatever approach works for you, stick with it. If you got the 15 for your final answer and did this in a different way, I'm fine with that. My method is just to give people who don't have a strategy already, this is a possibility for you. I'm going to scroll down a little bit and let you give example 6 to try. And I'm going to pause for just a second because I think we have a question out there. So just one moment. I'm going to go ahead and have you read these and set up your equal statement. A number of a certain unit will equal a number of another unit. And then you do that again. See that there's 3 units, that you're given 5 numbers, and ask for the 6th. And make a plan. Find the friend that they have in common, because whatever the question is, it's not going to be a one-step proportion. They won't have given you information to go directly from what they give you in the question to what answer they're looking for. You'll have to do 2 steps. I'll go ahead and pause. You pause your playback and give this one a try. And I'm giving you another moment before you pause the recording. I will say that there are at least 2 ways of solving this. The reason why I'm showing you with proportions is because if you don't have any strategy at all, this idea with the proportions can work pretty elegantly. However, there's definitely another common way where you take people divided by people and do some multiplication that way. I'm just picking one possible way of solving it. And so here, let's go on over to my DocCam. Okay, technically it's not my DocCam, it's the library's DocCam, but here we go. I've written out the details. Some people write bottles, some people write soda, so I just put both. And so we know 5 bottles of soda, they get 4 pizzas. Whenever they get 2 pizzas, that's for 3 people. We're asked about 27 people coming, X bottles of soda. Oh, and can I put in a little plug that I knew when I wrote this question back in December of 2020 that I was being very optimistic. I realized that COVID was going to be endemic, meaning it's going to be with us every year, just like the flu. But I wanted to be optimistic and say she'd have a party. Please don't have a party right now unless everybody's wearing a mask, okay? Because we are not out of the woods yet. However, let's go ahead and solve this problem. And we have no information to go directly from people to bottles of soda. I do, however, have a friend. I can convert people to pizzas, and then I can convert pizzas to sodas. So our strategy is 27 people. We're going to figure out how many pizzas that is. And then that friend will call the other friend of bottles of soda. Okay. My first proportion then is going to be 27 people. I don't know how many pizzas that's going to be. That's a good question. So there's my pizzas. I do know from the problem that 3 people is equal to 2 pizzas. I got a little carried away with myself. I already put the line there. I'm going to go ahead and put this other line here. If necessary, you can always just rewrite the numbers just to get rid of all the letters if it's looking a little cluttered to you. We'll do the 3 times the x equal to 27 times 2. That will leave us with 3x equals 54. And if we divide both sides by the coefficient, 3 divided by 3 becomes 1. 54 divided by 3 is equal to 1, and that leaves us 24, 18. It was pizzas that I was trying to figure out what the x was. So far we have 18 pizzas. Now you may have a very different number if you strategized in a different way to get this, but at least I'd know for 27 people, I need to call and place an order for 18 pizzas. Now, for the bottles of soda, with 18 pizzas, let's see how many bottles of soda that is. I'm just going to put bottles for now. I know from the problem, dun, da, 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 4 pizzas was 5 bottles of soda. 4 pizzas is equal to 5 bottles of soda. Again, I can go boom and boom, then cross multiply. 4 times x is equal to 18 times 5. This is not going to come out to be a whole number. We're going to have to read the question again to get just the right answer. 4x is equal to, or is it a whole number? Why is this coming out okay? 4x equals 90. Oh, yeah, it's not. Okay, so 90 divided by 4 is 2. 10, 2, 1, 22 points, and then it's, is it 5? Yeah, 22.5 bottles of soda. Okay, well, we have answer choices. One was for 22 bottles, one was for 23 bottles. Let's go back to the question, and we're going to have to use a little bit of logic, pay a little bit of attention to the details. You're like, no, I just did all that math. Why do I have to think anymore? Yeah, sorry. There is occasionally some extra thinking. I'm going to start with just the final question. Now, they are planning to invite 27 people to the party. How many bottles of soda will they need to order to make sure there's enough for everyone? Well, they know they need 22.5 bottles. To make sure they have enough for everyone, they're going to want to round up. The correct answer then is going to be letter B. 23 bottles, they want to play it safe, have enough. There have been other questions. For example, I had one on the previous page where you buy raffle tickets for a fundraiser. Each ticket costs $3.50 and you have $55 to spend. With that one, we came out with something, let's pretend we came out with, I don't know, I need a choice. Maybe we had 15, what should I say? Maybe we had 17.4 or something for our answer. No, 17.7. With that one, while we would normally round up an answer to 18, because we're having to give them money, they're not going to give us that 18th ticket unless we have enough money. So in that case, we had to round down. These are the last little things to think about when you're coming up with your final answers. And it's a good strategy for every section, even in reading comprehension. There were several problems where to get the correct answer, you sometimes had to pick up on just one word in the original passage or in the question to know which answer choice would be better. This kind of thinking through and paying close attention to what the question's actually asking, I think will be very valuable to you in every section of the TEAS. I'm going to try to find one more for you guys to try, and then we're planning to, well, this is one of my generic ones, so everybody's going to see this. So I'm going to give you another one to try and leave it at that. Just a moment. Here's another practice problem for you. An obedient school has 7 trainers for every 18 dogs. They allow 9 parents to attend for every 6 dogs. If 63 parents are there, approximately how many trainers should be there? Totally weird question, I know, but I come up with these off the top of my head. So here we are. You've got 4 answer choices. See what you decide for how to solve for it. I'm going to give you another moment to pause your playback before I go over the answer. Okay, here we go. So if you decide to follow the same method I've been doing so far, keep watching. If you have another method you like, go ahead and fast forward, because I am going to do it the other way as well, just to validate, if you haven't already felt validated, that there is another perfectly good way of solving this. But let's stick with our motif, and we will do the fact that 7 trainers equals 18 dogs. 9 parents goes with 6 dogs. 63 parents equals some number of trainers. My strategy, I can't go directly from parents to trainers, but they have a friend. Man, and often woman's best friend of the dogs. So we're going to convert those 63 parents to dogs first, and then that friend will give the trainers a call. And we'll have it that way. Therefore, let's do our first thing, 63 parents. I don't know how many dogs that is, so I'll use X. I do know that 9 parents is equal to 6 dogs. At this point, if you recognize that 63 divided by 9 equals 7, you can go ahead and do that, and then just do 7 times 6. Otherwise, you can do 9x is equal to 63 times 6. I have no idea what that is because I did do the 7 times 4. 9x is equal to, carry the 136, 378. And then divide both sides by 9. And x should be 42. Yes, it is. Okay, so we know there are 42 happy, maybe slightly crazy dogs on site. Now, with 42 dogs, how many trainers should be there? Well, we were told in the problem that for every 18 dogs, there need to be 7 trainers. If we cross multiply, 18x will equal 42 times 7, which means 18x is going to equal 54. No, it's not. I didn't think that sounded big enough. I'm asking for erasable pens for Christmas. So excited to not have to use whiteout anymore. This is gonna be 4 carry the 128, 294. There we go. We'll divide both sides by 18. And x should equal, I already forgot what the answer is, something 0.33333.
16.
16, thank you. 16 and technically 1/3, 16.3333. We were asked to approximate how many, so our final answer would have been 16 trainers are going to be needed on hand. Now, if you don't want to get confused and you've been enjoying this method, this is where you stop. If you've been doing a different method and you just want me to say, hey, yes, you've been doing a great job, I'm going to say that without even trying to solve it that way, because I'm sure you've been doing a great job with getting to the answer. But I completely understand if this is not the approach you've been doing. What you may have decided instead, again, you still might decide to look at it this way for your strategy. Let me see if I can get this to all fit on my page. This was such a professional thing to start out with. There we go. You might have said, oh, okay, there are 63 parents. If I divide that by 9 parents, we have a multiple of 7. We could then say 7 times 6 dogs. We must have 42 dogs on site. And so that's the same as what I had after doing the first proportion. Then with the 42 dogs, if I divide that by the 6 dogs, am I doing it wrong? Yeah, I'm doing the wrong thing. If I take it and divide it by the 18 dogs that are with the trainer, That is equal to 42 divided by 18 is the 2.333. If you've watched any of my other videos, I've always recommended, and of course this could stay in your calculator, I've recommended keeping 3 decimal places. It helps really well when you're trying to do problems that have fractions in them. So I'll go ahead and do that this time. That is what we would then multiply times the 7 trainers. And that, I believe, is where I ended up with the 16, yeah, the 16.333 or 16 1/3. This is another perfectly good way of doing it, where you're just dividing it by its own unit. And that's the trick. You can't divide parents by dogs or divide dogs by trainers. It has to be the same unit each time. And that gives you what you need to multiply the other one. I'm done, I think, with this recording. I hope this has given you a couple of strategies for how to solve these problems that have 3 units and 5 numbers, and you're being asked for the 6th. Thanks for watching, and maybe I'll see you in another video.